Welcome to Cast of Creators. We're your hosts. I'm Nelson Thal.
And I'm Casey Stewart. We've spent our careers in media and publishing, and now we're setting the stage for creative people who inspire us to share their stories.
Cast of Creators is presented by our new social browser called Hover.
Hover makes browsing fun. You can follow people and your favorite sites to discover and discuss the web all in one place. Download Hover, that's HBR, in the App Store or the Play Store.
Today's guest is Daniel Carman from Over the Rainbow Jeans, a business his father founded in 1975 and Toronto's destination for denim in the heart of Yorkville.
We got the backstory on why Over the Rainbow was founded, how the neighborhood and fashion have changed, and learned about their new 6,500 square foot store. Here we go.
Daniel, welcome to Cast of Creators.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you
Good to see
here.
ya.
Yeah.
Again.
It's nice to be in your brand new, well, not brand new, but this wonderful studio that you guys set up
Thank you.
around the corner from me. We're neighbors.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, Over the Rainbow is a Yorkville staple since when?
1975, way older than me.
Yeah. That's
And your dad's the founder?
Joel, yeah. Well, both my parents are the founder, but Joel, my father, is the figurehead of the company. But yeah, 1975, 47 years old.
Wow. So in 1975, Yorkville is a lot different place.
Yes.
What's it like?
I mean, I wasn't born then.
Well, tell us
but
about
like-
the start.
In what I've heard, I mean, they're much more indie and alternative and artsy, kind of like, what Queen Street, whatever like art area there is in
like
Toronto today.
Queen West
That's
used
what
to be.
Yorkville was. And Over the Rainbow as like a store was also kind of on the alternate side of fashion, right? Because in the 70s, the mid 70s, you couldn't wear jeans everywhere, right? Like it was what artists and musicians and anybody that didn't have a regular 9-to-5 blue or white collar job, that's what they wore. And back then, there was barely any places that sold it. So that's how it's a bigger story than that. But how we were founded was out of a need, right? All these artists and musicians and creators needed a place to go buy jeans, and department store, like whoever was selling clothes at that time, they weren't selling that.
Wow.
So we kind of took something that the arts community needed in the 70s, and then it just kind of evolved from there as denim and how people wore jeans evolved with time, right? Which obviously it's not alternative, it's completely mainstream, right? But
yeah, now it's dressing up.
It
went from dressing down in the 70s.
Yeah, I feel
to
like
now dressing up.
Yeah, I feel like the older we get, the more relevant jeans are becoming. Like more and more people are wearing them in more and more places, right? It's staggering. It's great to be on the receiving end of that, because when you started it, and you're I don't want to say pioneer, because that's kind of like a braggadocious term, but but it's true, right? Like we were around in the very beginning of when people started to buy and wear and sell denim.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see a graph of your rents since 75.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't want to see it.
He doesn't want to see that, okay?
No.
I'm assuming, safe assumption that they're going up.
Yeah.
Since the
this
70s.
neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we just moved into a new store 3 years ago, so we had to go through that exercise of finding an affordable place to move in this area, which was not easy.
Was it convenient that the move was then during COVID or just before COVID, or was that like a perfect storm in the worst way?
It was actually 10 months. We opened 10 months before COVID.
Oh.
Okay.
Right. So we hadn't even made it to a year when the pandemic happened and just shut all retail down, which was obviously a big bummer. But it was just before that, and then 2 years prior to that, building the store. So yeah, it was pre-COVID.
So the prior location was your original location, was it?
It is, yeah, but we were actually in 2 locations in the area prior to that. Not for very long.
Wow.
Okay.
That's like the known original. Like when you say original, we were in that space for 38 years.
Okay.
So most of the time.
Most people that are alive
that's the
today,
spot.
unless you're like, a much older gentleman or young lady, like you're talking about the 101 Yorkville space. But we were we were on Bloor Street first, and then we were on Cumberland for 4 or 5 years. We moved in 82, so 75 to 82. We were in 2 smaller locations in Yorkville.
Cool. I remember like when I first moved to Toronto in 2005, around when I started my blog. And, going to Yorkville was like so cool. And I knew the store was there and, and it was like, I at that point I was quite poor and I wasn't buying anything, but going in and looking at stuff. And it just, was like always something I would go and do.
Lust after.
And I feel like a lot of people have memories of the store because, if you've come to this area, like everyone knows of it.
Yeah. I mean, we get stories all the time. Like, and it never gets tiring hearing those stories because it's like, kind of reminds you of the history that the store. I think one of your guests called it a legacy brand. I like that term, by the way.
That was George Sully.
That was George Sully. Great guy, by the way. Not just for that interview, but I've had the chance to talk to George about a lot of things, and he's a good guy. I like what he's doing. But legacy brand is kind of a great term to describe what Over the Rainbow is and has been for a lot of people. But lots of memories, yeah.
What was it like growing up in the business? Were you at the store a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I did like all the odd jobs that you could do around a store without no experience whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I did all the things that my staff do now. I was doing myself at a young age, and it was just to help out. It wasn't for money or even aspiration of joining the like, because I didn't know. As a kid, I didn't know this wasn't like ordained to me that I was going to do this. But
like you're taking over the store.
But I wanted to help out, right? Because it's a hardworking family. It's a family business. Like it started from the same humble beginnings as most stores today that are small. Like that's why I love small business, right? Because we came from that. Like Rainbow. Many decades ago, we were one of those stores right now. So you just go to appreciate that type of history and be very proud of like where we've come.
Yeah. Obviously, and that you're still there and thriving.
We're still there and we're bigger and better than ever.
My wife, Talia, you both know, but just for context,
love Tal.
Raves about you being so knowledgeable and so helpful. Right. Whenever she goes to the store.
By the way, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but shout out to Tal. She's the one that made this happen, and she has been a big supporter of my. So thank you, Tal, for that compliment. And I just want to say how amazing it's been to know Tal and how well and. She's just been a big supporter of the store. She's brought lots of clients through. Anything she's ever done, she's really included my store along the way. So big thank you to you. And
that's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much.
For sure.
She loves denim. She wears a lot of denim, specifically denim onesies. She loves a good denim onesie. Okay. So if you've got any denim onesies around, I'll have to.
That's an interesting request, Tal, but not a ton actually. Maybe a few.
I'm a jumpsuit lover too.
Yeah, you're a denim. You'll wear the jumpsuit.
And I have a jumpsuit. A lot of mine are from Zara Kids because I'm real short. So
we get more requests for overalls rather than jumpsuits.
That's so hot right now.
It's a little more like it's actually hard to. First of all, it's hard to design jeans and fit for jeans, but an entire jean outfit, just the way it would fall on you, it's very hard to design something like that.
Yeah.
For the top and for the bottom that's connected, it's like it's tough.
You want to go?
Yeah. Well, at what point? So you're working in the store, your family's in this business, and you get into your teens, and you start to sort of understand, I could carve out a role here. I could focus on this.
Right.
And what is that like? I mean, how many siblings do you have?
I have a younger sister. It's just me and my sister, and we work together. Okay. And she's great. Shout out to Amy. Amy's my sister, so we work together. How was it in my teens?
Yeah. Like at what point do you really make the commitment and realize, okay, I want to focus on this business?
Well, it wasn't in my teens. But it was after I graduated university. I said,
where'd you go?
It was called the University of Western Ontario back then, UWO, now known as Western University.
Yeah.
Great institution, taught me a lot of stuff. Went. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I went there for history and journalism, which is kind of ironic because it's like those are not really two fields that you apply to business, but those two those two majors actually helped kind of shape the business person that I was today. So especially journalism, like that's to be able to play with word. I mean, what you guys do essentially, like I got to go to school and educate myself in how you guys actually like write and produce and all that stuff. So it's helped me out a lot in my career. But yeah, it was kind of just, for me, it was kind of, I was either going to go the professor or journalist route or try a hand in business. And really, it wasn't even about the store specifically, but it was the desire to be like an entrepreneur or work for yourself. That was kind of something that I even as a teen, it was kind of important to me because I'd seen somebody do it before me and succeed at it. And it's like, I would love to do that. I'm just too young and inexperienced to know how to do that. Right. So I had to go through, I had to work at a lot of places and do a lot of things and jobs to get where I am today. It wasn't just, they didn't throw.
Yeah. They didn't just say, here's the key.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I like to use the analogy of a car, right? So, everyone just assumes when you're in a family business that, you're just throwing the keys because it's a great car. It's this opportunity. And you're just going to go right into the driver's seat and drive the car, right?
Yeah.
That's the assumption of any person in a family business, right? But the reality of my story is like, I wasn't given the keys. I wasn't in the passenger seat. I wasn't even in the back seat. I was walking behind the car, slowly trying to catch up to it. You know what I mean? So, but it's helped me a lot because, the fashion industry is an interesting place with lots of interesting people on different levels. And you got to learn how to deal with everybody from the most rigid sort of numbers guys to the most creatives of creative designers. And the way they all think is very, very different. And me I'm a retailer, so I have relationships with people that design great products. I have to know how to talk to everybody along the way.
Absolutely. And how many different brands do you carry?
I mean, probably over 60 brands, I'd say, maybe 70. It's a lot.
Wow.
We used to only be a denim store back in the 70s days, but we've really evolved into selling anything. First of all, anything that could be worn with jeans for sure, but lifestyle, self-care, wellness products, like all sorts of stuff, things that you would expect to see in a retail environment now, we've expanded into those different areas.
Yeah, and your new store is beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So along the lines from the 70s to today, we watch jeans become a fashion sort of staple.
Yep.
And they're perceived sort of dressy. The level of dress went from dressing down to tiptoeing towards high fashion and dressing up. And now, you can buy a very expensive pair of jeans.
Right. You can.
Do you remember that as it occurred? And was it something that was on your radar and you guys were excited about this happening? And like, is that something that you watched and you were waiting for and anticipating, or?
No. Well, I think, were we anticipating how big it would be? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not why the store was created, but it was certainly great that it did, because if people weren't wearing jeans as much, we'd be a much smaller, much more niche type of store than what we are now, which is servicing a lot more people who want to wear jeans to a lot more places. So we weren't anticipating it, but we're happy it happened because it created a lot of good things out of it, right? The new store that you just mentioned, we wouldn't have needed a store of that size and beauty if people weren't wearing jeans as often as they are and dressing it up, as you mentioned, right? I mean, is anyone wearing a suit here? No. We're sitting in a studio, all of us are wearing jeans and casual clothing, and it's perfectly acceptable, and it looks, I hope it looks
nice.
Good to the audience that's it's looking at us right now, but it's an acceptable. I don't need to be wearing, not that there's anything wrong with wearing a blazer or a suit, like that's beauty in its own way, but I don't know. There's just something about, I've always grown up in a casual environment.
Yeah. Love that.
Like I personally don't own a lot of suits. Like I can appreciate a good suit and whoever sells it. And I have lots of friends in the industry that sell suits, but I'm a denim guy. I just wear denim. I try to wear denim like some people all the time to as many occasions as I possibly
What's your favorite denim brands? Do you have any
That wouldn't be fair for me to single one out. Let's just say my favorite brands are all the brands. Anything that's carried at the store are brands and products that I personally stand behind, and I think are great. And so if you trust me and the team of people that help me source and display and buy clothing for the store, we stand behind all of those brands. Those to me are the best in class brands for what people want from denim, and it's all sustainable. It all fits well. Yeah. We've tested it all out.
I need to come in and get some new denim.
Well, it's very people like people's body style, shapes are obviously different, but people like different feeling jeans too. Like I know for me, if I put on a pair of jeans and they feel too much like leggings,
you don't want
that's not my pair of jeans.
Stretch.
Right. Okay. Like if I bend my knee and it's like I feel like it's a legging.
That's not for you.
You're in the same category as me, Nelson. That's exactly what I mean, well, first of all, the trend, or not even the trend, but like what most guys want is the opposite of what you and me enjoy about jeans. They actually do comfort in anything, not even just jeans, but especially in jeans, has become very important to jean wearers, especially men. Men actually appreciate stretch more now than women do, right?
Wow.
Because
I've
women
noticed that trying on stuff. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
No, but I'm saying that like men are still obsessed with stretch comfortable. Some men, not you and I, or like there's always people that like
fake
different things.
No.
But women have actually embraced more of that sort of wide leg, non-stretch, like comfort, super comfort denim, right? Where men haven't really, in high fashion, men have, like the high fashion men wear loose,
big,
100% cotton, like really loose. I'm talking much looser than you and I wear jeans, but that hasn't, high fashion doesn't necessarily infiltrate mainstream fashion, right? So women are a little more daring and will kind of have switched the mold much more than men do. But a lot of jeans are made out of those materials because comfort is very, very important to men. We sell a lot more comfort denim to men, less to women, way less to, I mean, some women, depending, like if you're still wearing skinny jeans, having stretch in them is really important.
Yes.
Right? I don't think you would wear a non-stretch. Like imagine it's on your...
I don't really even do skinny jeans anymore.
Right.
I'm over it. They're in the past for me.
It's a lot of women.
I got a lot of high-waisted, wide leg type of things.
And you probably feel a lot more comfortable.
Or the mom
and free.
kind of jeans. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm actually I have had denim over the years and from the store, but I stopped wearing jeans for a long time and I kind of got a bit fitter. And because I was like, I'm not wearing jeans anymore because I just couldn't find any that fit and I was like heavier. But I've in the last 2 years, been working out a lot.
Right.
I really like wearing jeans now. And I'm like, I feel like sometimes it can be hard to find the right pair. And I do a lot of online shopping where often I end up sending things back. So I think, could you, like if someone comes into the store, you guys really help someone find the perfect fit.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Well, we can do.
Yeah, he's got a slew of 70 plus brands.
That's what we're built for.
That's what he's built for. Yeah,
we're built for these scenarios of men and women and anybody to come in, and we'll help you out, and we'll give you like whatever you need. We know we have this. When you've done something so well for 47 years, you know what you're doing. You know what questions to ask, and hopefully I'm pretty confident that we'll have the products that people are looking for. That's why there's so much denim in the store, right? It's to try to fit as many body types as possible.
Right.
We're not all built the same.
No.
Right? I tell people that like people's bodies are almost like snowflakes. Like you can try to have fits that, fit the mold, but that's not really how it is, right?
No. They're all different and unique.
Yeah, and you know that just by trying on a variety of jeans. If I deviate and try on something that, obviously isn't my cut, I put my leg in and I'm like, who the hell fits in this thing? Like it just doesn't make sense it doesn't work.
Right.
But I have a go-to, go-to set of jeans or go-to style of jeans that I've been consistent for some time in, but I would deviate. But it would, but I also wear pretty well. This is denim too.
That is right. Yeah.
So this is my go-to uniform.
Okay.
I basically
denim on denim.
My go-to uniform is denim on denim.
Steve Jobs or Zuckerberg, same type of outfit.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, it keeps things pretty easy.
Well, denim.
I'm the opposite.
I like denim on denim too. I'm not wearing denim on denim today, but as long as it's a different color, I find it's a good. It's a good combo mix.
I like the same as in like full Canadian tuxedo, but I mean, I'm like more adventurous.
Has to be a really cool color for that to pull that off, right? Like that can work if it's the right like shade of denim, which is another great thing about jeans is like, just the way that jeans are finished and even the colors of them. That's really what makes it so attractive too. Like I kind of deviate. Like I'll like clean raw jeans just for like the canvas of it, but then like nothing beats a good pair of just like washed in, like lots of like detailing. Like it's hard for me because I know so much about denim. I've been sourcing it for so many years. When I see something that's been like hand done on a jean or a detail, it's really, really interesting to me. I really get into that
because it's really like a unique pair.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you take a brand like Levi's, okay?
Yeah.
Are they creating that denim from scratch? Like, are they making their own denim? Or are they
you asking how like denim is made? Or
is Levi's making their denim or are they going and sourcing and buying that denim?
Levi's specific is probably sourcing it. There are some like niche brands out there that also like weave their own cotton, but most of them source it from other places. Like I'd say 95% of the people do. It's just basically rolls and rolls of, they to answer your question, I don't think Levi's is. They probably could. They're big enough to do that. But no, like the way denim, everyone kind of like, they source the fabrics from other people and then they go and they make it into whatever they want it to be. Wash jeans, raw denim, whatever they want to do, right?
So most of the brands are taking denim that they buy and then determining the cut that they want to do and then determining what finish. But is it coming to them blue? What's its natural color?
Are you talking about like is
Levi's getting is that denim, the cotton comes to them and is it blue?
It's black? Probably dark blue. A lot of it is dark blue.
What's its natural color?
Well, I mean, indigo. So like denim is from indigo, right? So think of the color indigo, the really, really dark blue. That's what every jean starts off as for the most part, right? Like it starts from that. And no matter how light or dark it gets, it depends on how you wash the fabric down, right? So it starts really, really dark. You want a really, really light pair of jeans. You got to wash it a lot of times with like a much stronger bleach formula or something like that.
What makes denim denim? Like the fabric denim, what does it take? Like if I make
I was about to go with a hard question.
Yeah, he really wants.
When does something tiptoe from like just a normal fabric you can make a suit pant out of into denim? What the heck is it?
That would take a much longer podcast to explain the science of it.
I'm trying to figure it out.
There's lots of ways that denim can be woven to make it denim. There's left hand twill, right hand twill, warp and what. There's actually lots of that stuff. I would, as a segue, I know this is about Over the Rainbow and you're interviewing me, but you should, if he ever comes to town, you want to ask somebody that question, you should ask a gentleman named Brandon Spark. He owns a company called Naked and Famous Denim.
Okay.
That's the guy to talk to because he makes denim and he can give you the whole, like, you want to be a fabric nerd about it, like you can talk to him about it because that's the world he lives in. But to answer your question, like on the retail side, fabric is much appreciated on our, like, I go and I try to find the best feeling, best looking, and best fitting fabrics that I possibly can. Like it's an endless search for that. The best quality, the one that'll last you a long time. They won't rip in the places that they rip. Like it's quality, it's sustainable, it's made well.
So some of your relationships with these brands span decades.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of decade-long partners. Yeah. We actually try when we source brands because there's different ways that retailers can source brands. Sometimes it's very trend based, which is like high and low. So brands that fit that trend, they'll buy those brands for that moment. And then when the moment's done, there's nothing for that brand to give them anymore. So those type of stores will kind of turn over brands much faster. But we like to look for long-term partnerships and try to buy products that we know aren't necessarily like of the moment all the time. They're staples, they're essentials, they're things that you can wear for a long period of time.
Yeah, that's something that's more timeless, less trendy.
Yeah.
This is kind of coming up. The more we talk with different types of creators and things, a long-term relationship with brands is something that keeps weaving into different episodes. So, of
course,
that building relationships is really so important.
Well, I think the greatest lesson I learned from my father, Joel, who, he's a well-loved man in this industry and in this world. Like a lot of people like my father, he's just his personality is very lovable. And he taught me that relationships are everything.
Mm-hmm.
I really take that to heart. Like anytime I'm working with somebody or working with a company, I like to get to know them. I like to get to know the people that are working with them so I can build relationships with not just the CEO or the president or the head designer, like with everybody that works in that business, because everyone's job or role is important in a company, right? And I need to know, even if, let's say I'm working with a company and things are going great or things are not going great, I need to know the people that I need to talk to make that as seamless or as great as I possibly can. And that's not always the guy or girl or anybody that's at the top. It's everybody else below that. So yeah, I think Over the Rainbow has a great reputation of working with brands and sourcing brands and keeping them going in business on a retail platform for many, many years and decades.
Yeah, it sure does.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Buying jeans online.
Yeah.
Tough thing to buy online.
Yes. It's usually for me, I'm like, often I'll see, I am easily influenced by people that I follow on the internet. And
big surprise there.
Yeah. So if I see someone that is wearing a great pair of jeans, denim, I will often follow the link or go to the website where, the brand that they've tagged and try and find them. But I find, I'm 5'2", and a lot of jeans are made for taller people. Just kind of, I can't tell you how many times I put something in my cart and I'm about to make a big purchase and I go, I'm not doing it, because I feel like maybe it's just not going to fit properly,
Yeah, and that's such a unique niche because there's other clothes that you can more easily buy online.
Oh, yeah, like a sweater or a dress or something.
100%.
Shoes, I can, don't let me near a shoe website,
Right.
It's easy because I know that I usually have the smallest women's size that you can get.
Okay.
I have small feet, so I know that's it. And I can always put an insole in it if the size 6 is a little bit too big and I don't have 5.5. But when it comes to denim, it's like it has to fit your waist, or when you sit down, you don't want it to gape at the back and then the inseam, and then is it too long? Do you have to get them hemmed, or the hips, the legs? It's a whole thing.
What Casey's describing right now is the typical scenario we find when not just shopping for denim online, but just shopping for jeans in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's the situation I'm faced with every time someone comes into my store and I have to help them find jeans. It's based out of a frustrating experience prior to that. So yeah, admittedly, buying online, I mean, we had to figure it out during the pandemic, right?
Because you guys weren't online.
Yeah.
You were.
Absolutely. We have an online store as well. It's not as old as the store, but we had to figure that out too.
There was an internet.
Yeah, exactly. We had to figure that out too. How are people going to do it? So, if you go to rainbowjeans.com, plug, you will find we've tried to organize it for people so that if you like a certain fit of jeans, like you were mentioning before, I don't know if it was taped or not, or if we caught that, but you were telling me that you don't wear skinny jeans anymore. You're all about wide legs and all that stuff. So there's a section on our website where you can look at all the wide leg jeans, all the high rise jeans. So we tried to make it as easy as possible, but I mean, I would say, we do sell a lot of jeans online, and anybody who buys jeans online, they can always call us and ask us questions.
Okay.
Like if you were buying something online, we 6 days a week, we have somebody that just handles like online fit questions and all that stuff. Like you can call it. So we've encouraged people to do that, and that's what people were doing during the pandemic.
That also
right?
leans into the relationship building, because if I'm buying something, jeans from, maybe a really big brand, they're directly from the brand, I'm not going to get the same customer experience as I would as like calling the store and saying, hey, it's Casey again. I need a new pair of jeans.
Right.
This is what I'm looking for. And I imagine that you guys over the years have a lot of repeat customers that you've built relationships with, it because that would be their go-to shop.
We call it multi-generational, but it really is. I think it's about 3 or 4 generations now of people that have been shopping in the store. And that's what goes back to all the memories, the stories and the memories we get when you're talking about such a long period of time. There's so many different versions of that because of, how if you were shopping with Rainbow in the 70s or 80s or 90s, you have a much different story than, if you came in the 2000s or 2010s or even recently, this is your first time coming into the store. They're very different stories, but it's kind of all rooted in the same place, right? Like we're coming to your store. We've had a previously horrible experience shopping with jeans. We want you to make it better. And that's what we do, right? We transform the way that people perceive about shopping for jeans by just trying to make it as easy as we possibly can. And having someone to help you, which makes it as easy as you possibly can. Like we strive to have anybody that walks into the store, we try our best to give them one-on-one service. There's nobody else in your ear. We're here for you to fit you with whatever you need, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we exist.
Yeah.
You've also done a couple collaborations with different brands, have you?
We have. Yes, we have. Those are the fun. Yeah, I mean, those are the fun stories. But yeah, we have. We're not we don't do a lot of them. And admittedly, when we built the store, we kind of had to slow down on producing collaborations because we wanted to kind of concentrate on building the retail space. But yeah, we do that. We did a big, the biggest one actually, probably when Casey was
Fidelity. Oh, I mean, no, that was a different one.
No. She's her memory is correct. It was from Fidelity. No, what I was alluding to was our 40th anniversary. We did probably 12 or 15 collaborations.
Oh, okay,
it was in 2014.
Wow.
The first one being Fidelity. Fidelity
I found that blog post today.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this was such a fun time. Yeah, it's documented.
So just I mean, I know your audience knows Casey's background, but Casey, when we in those days, in sort of the mid 2000s, we worked with a company called Fallhaber Communications.
Yes.
They're still around
Love
today.
them. I've got a call with them later today.
And to Lexi, we're still friends today. They're more like family to us. But I mean, we're still family. But back in those days, if you wanted, this was pre-social media
and
and the internet was kind of in its not in its infant stages.
But there was no Instagram yet.
No, there was no Instagram. There was no social media, no Twitter, no nothing. Right? It was all kind of teenage years of the internet. And if you wanted people to talk about your brand or what was going on, there was no stories, there was no live whatever. If you wanted people to talk about that, you had to go to people called bloggers, which, I mean, bloggers was the industry term.
Yeah.
I like to call them street reporters because to me, before print would get a hold of whatever you were doing, you were basically relying on street reporters and fashion journalists to cover in real time, great products that you had or an experience or an event or do something. So Casey was one of the people that you had to go to write great stories about. So, and as she mentioned, she wrote a lot of she supported Over the Rainbow through her writing and through her experiences. So now we just live in the age where anyone, not anyone can do that.
No, but anyone's, I mean, it's kind of like everyone's an influencer now because everyone has, some influence and access to social media and as a voice. But back then in the early days, there was the blog gang and we were you guys were street important reporters.
No, you were. You guys were important to how, especially if you were a retail store and you wanted to evolve your image, that was the arena that you went to for the insiders, right? Because not everyone, everyone can start a social media account now. You just got to like give some information, right? And then you have a social media account. If you wanted to set up a blog, you needed to like know what you were doing and design it and put pictures, and it's a lot more work to do that. So not everybody was blogging back in the day. I'm not saying everyone's influencing, but social media makes it a lot easier for people to kind of just pick it up and share their experiences. Back in the teenage years of the internet, you really had to know what you were doing to do that. Yeah. And from what I understand, Casey's still writing for her blog.
Yes,
which
I totally wrote a blog post yesterday.
You should keep it up, Casey.
I'm never stopping. On that note, do you guys, do you do influencer collabs, influencer relations, work with creators, any of that kind of stuff with the store?
Not aggressively.
Because I feel like maybe in the earlier social media days, yes, but maybe not so much now. I was checking.
We're, you know what? We put a little bit of a pause on that just because we really wanted to understand. There were other areas of like marketing and e-commerce that we wanted to understand better than social media does. And I don't want to diminish social media because social media is obviously important. It's a powerful tool, right? But there's other tools as a business that you can use outside of social media that are equally as important. Like we have a website and we sell online. To us, that's a much more important thing to learn how to do well than social media. Email marketing, text message marketing, things that kind of directly go to your customers and things that you own are much more important to me than social media. Not that influencers aren't. And I think starting next year, we're really going to start to like revisit that and be more, we obviously do have partnerships, but they're not like official influencer. And I don't even know if that's the right term anymore.
Yeah,
but like,
no, I hate the term.
We're always open to collaborating.
You heard it here first.
Though. Like anybody that wants to collaborate, I will always listen and want to do it if it makes sense. As long as it's somebody that like really has been into the store and just knows a little bit about us and like really kind of wants to do it because for the love and for, being paid for it, which is totally, I get, but they have to really be into the store.
Yeah, there you go. The relation, if they, someone who has a relationship with the store, it would make sense,
Yeah. So we're going to work more with influencers moving forward, and we're going to do more collabs. So to answer both of your questions,
cool.
These are things that now that like we're back from the pandemic and the new store is built and we kind of have a great environment going, we can start to really focus on those areas now and work, collaborate with people in the digital media space or in the media space, and collaborate more with brands and do more creative collabs. Because I do enjoy doing that. I mean, it's a lot of work to design product that's kind of customized because, you also want to do something that has a point of view and is different, but isn't too different that people won't understand it, right? But it's fun.
What have been some of the best techniques to take a relationship that you have with a customer in the physical, and transition that to digital through a loyalty program or through getting their email, through getting their number? What's been the best strategies for you in that?
I would say, so are you referring to like is it
someone comes in the store, they buy a pair of jeans, they had a great time with you or somebody part of your staff.
Okay.
And you want to be able to keep a line of communication now available with that person. How do you do that?
That is a question I ask myself every day, every minute of the day. And especially if you're a multi-generational store like us, everyone actually has different ways of how they want to communicate. Mm-hmm. So if you're if you're a store that appeals to a significantly younger audience, you might say that social media, TikTok, like whatever is hot is really important to you. But you have to understand that's not how everybody wants to be communicated. And that's also not how everyone consumes information. So you just have to know your customer base well enough to know, how do they want to be communicated? Do they want to be emailed? Do they want to be texted? Do they want to be DM'd? Do they want Google ads to pop up in your face? Like, what is it, right? And depending on the generation of your customer, that's that would be the answer to that question. For us, we have to do all of it.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you probably, exactly. And over the years, you would have done all the different kinds of marketing.
Absolutely.
Communications.
I would say for us specifically, because Over the Rainbow is more of a multi-generational, and we have more like clients that are of like the older generations as well. Like social media doesn't matter to them. They want to be contacted differently. So we have to know the ways to do that. So we focus a lot on like email marketing, text marketing, and just promoting the website, because that's how a lot of our, they're outside of the social media sphere. Social media is good for attracting new customers, but it's not great in communicating with like some of our like alumni, like generation of shoppers, right? And the other thing people don't realize for us is that we actually value those channels a little bit more than social media, because our website and our email list and our text lists, like our phone list, those are things that we as a company own. We own those things, right? Now we can't do it obviously we can't, there's privacy laws to protect how you own that and then put it out into the marketplace. But we own those things. Social media, sure, those, you don't own it. It's proprietary to you, but you don't own it. Instagram could announce a guideline tomorrow that makes all of your content irrelevant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's nothing that you could do about that.
Oh yeah,
right?
We talk about that a lot around here.
You are renting space on a platform that you don't own.
Yeah.
And yes, you need that. Most businesses these days need that platform to create awareness and to even generate sales, but it's not the only one. And I would say it's better. If I was giving any advice to anybody, and I don't profess to do that because I'm not a professor and I don't like to give advice, but I firmly believe that investing in things that you own is always a better investment than in things that you don't.
Oh yeah.
Because social media in 5 years, 10 years is going to be very different looking than what we're used to. And it's just going to continue. That content that you had on that old,
Yeah, I can't tell you how many platforms, like my blog is the only platform that, I've owned it since its creation 17 years ago. But my blog has lasted longer than any social media platform.
Right.
I've seen tons come and go. I've lost content. I had tons of things in my MySpace and Vine and Daily Booth, all these things I was part of, but they, and I'm with you that a lot of times when I've done talks, or I did a TED talk and I say, invest in a place that you own, because social media is 100% just rented space. And, last year, I think there was a day that like Facebook and Instagram were down. And if you were a social media manager or content creator, everyone's freaking the fuck out because it's like, imagine if that happened, or like, what would you do if you didn't have those? So that's why it's really important to have a website and things you own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how good does that content that's on your website still look today? Because any content you have on a website, once you change like the website design or you update it or whatever, you can still kind of go back and view that content and it still looks, sure, the photography style might be a little different and the words might be a little different, but you're able to disseminate and actually like go back and archive it. If you do that on any old social media platform, like go back and look at your Facebook content 10 years ago and tell me if like, unless you were posting a lot of photos back then, because obviously Facebook is good.
40 photos at a time.
Exactly. But like any content that's on there, like physical written content, no way. It doesn't look nearly as good as a website that you own. So we've always invested, for a small business like us, we've always invested more into stuff that we own over the social media platforms, but we recognize that social media is still important and we still need to,
now
we still need to be like Over the Rainbow. I think we've gotten a lot better at it, but we're much better. I would say we're much better at online sales and email marketing and text marketing than we are in social media, but we're getting there, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Speaking of getting there, we are passionately transforming the web with Hover. So this is Hover Studios. I've been working with Nelson, building Hover for the last 2 years. And I think one of the reasons I was so inspired when I first learned about Hover, our new mobile browser, is that, Hover really helps to build communities and bring an element of social media to websites.
Right.
Yeah, well said. I mean, a lot of what you're expressing is the foundational belief of what really powers Hover, which is you own your site. But traditionally, sites as we know them are pretty well just billboards. There's no real two-way relationship with a customer there. And it's impossible to really transform it into a community space.
Right.
Because the conventional browser doesn't give you the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. But with Hover, we've built the capabilities that you need to really transform that site into a community.
Okay.
And right into the browser. And it's interesting to actually continuing to discuss it with you, because we're trying to build out this feature set that creates a much more powerful place for brands and retailers just like yourself right at their site.
One of the things I wanted to do, coming on this podcast as well, not just having a great conversation with people that I respect, but finding ways that we could even work together beyond the podcast interview space. Because I agree. I think what you're doing is really interesting. And I think, building community, if there's one thing I've learned, and I don't want to go back and talk about the pandemic, because there's, that was another period of time. And to me, I think we need to stop dwelling. We need to move on. Yeah. Right. But it's really trying to find people that are doing interesting things. Community is more important than ever. One thing I learned from the pandemic is that I tried to be a digital only, online only retailer. And there is nothing that beats, at least in my retail world, it doesn't beat the community experience of a retail store and coming in and seeing people in person and trying it on and deciding right there and then what's going to be your outfit, as opposed to like the internet, which is great for like convenience shopping. But when it comes to clothing, admittedly, it's a very tough business to be in, like the e-commerce fashion. Like if you're going to be an online retailer, you should be selling something a lot easier than clothing, right? It's very challenging to do that. We use our website actually. I mean, we have a great website and there's people from all over the country, like all across North America, that have been buying clothing from us. But locally, we use our website as a great tool for people to know what's in the store, know what size they are, know what color there is, because our website is actually, and you would appreciate this, Nelson, being kind of like a tech guy and into like technology. Our website is fully integrated with our store's inventory. So you can use our website if you're a local shopper to find out what your size is, and you can come in and get it. Like it's that easy. It's not a warehouse somewhere in Brampton or Mississauga, right? It's at 55 Bloor Street behind the store, right? Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
So it's for us. Yes, we sell online, but it's a great marketing tool. It's again, because we own it and it's ours, and we've built a lot of like equity into it. But it's the greatest research tool you can use for the in-store experience, and it's convenient for the digital experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned behind the store. And when you first got here, you were talking about how the store is so much more.
It is.
And I did not know that there's some type of photo setup happening there.
There's a photo studio.
Oh, see?
Yeah, there's a photo studio.
Tell me more about this.
Well, not a lot of people know it because it's not like we take people. Yeah, we have about 6,000 square feet of like warehouse operations, all that stuff. So yeah, we got a photo studio. We have a tailor shop.
Oh my
gosh.
We
have an e-commerce fulfillment center. We've got, meeting rooms, and yeah, it's all there. Yes.
It's all there?
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah. Wow. I mean, you know what? We should... One day we'll go on a tour. You can even bring the cameras if you want. I'll give you exclusive access.
Yeah, that is so cool.
We'll clean it up a little bit for you. But the photo studio's clean. But yeah, when we built the new store, it wasn't just to wasn't just for the retail environment. It was for us, like the management team and the marketing and digital team. It was for us to work behind the scenes to run the store as best as we possibly can, right? And photography has always been an important part. Like we have somebody full time that works at the store. He's our creative director, and that's all he does for us is photography. And we're constantly shooting content. So it's a fast rat race in that sense. So when we built the store, I built a little area for them to be able to like shoot photos or just be able to like have kind of a silent space where they can think creatively and think of ideas and all sorts of stuff. So
that's so cool. I had no idea that all that was there.
It was. We did a lot when we built the.
It is there. It is there.
It was. Well, so when we built the store and how it looks and everything, and I'm really proud of how it came out. I can't say enough nice things about the store, but we took that as an opportunity as well to change a lot of other things about Over the Rainbow that, needed kind of updating, right? We did a whole rebranding exercise. We changed all our packaging and we built all these like spaces, creative spaces, because, in the old store, that all would have just been warehouse space for a product. But I was like, online sales are going to continue to be important and we're always going to need to shoot content. So if we're building a store, let's build areas that are made just for those things. Yeah, so it makes sense, right? Like if I wanted to, build those spaces later, it would take a lot more time and money for me to.
Or if you were constantly outsourcing someone to do that specific job and not doing it in-house, but the fact that you kind of got it all under one roof and doing all the things, I think that's so cool.
I mean, we still shoot on location as well. There's only so much you can do with a photo studio, but it's just having that sort of private, intimate space to be able to do that if we want to. It's really important.
Yeah. So you're doing basically product photos for the site in there. Like walk me through some of the shoots that you're doing in there.
Well, it started as we actually, we do product shoots in there. That's mainly what it's used for. We don't have to shoot every product on our website because now that the internet has evolved, there's a lot of brands that like will have images for you that you can use. I mean, most of what we shoot is more like lifestyle and like content that you see like with people wearing clothes. It's not really like product photography, but we have a lot of photos that flow through there. So it's a big shooting and editing process. And I mean, we're shooting probably once or twice, at least every 2 weeks we're shooting, something for the store. Without that, we wouldn't be able to brag about any online experience at all because it's all about, a good website, but it's also about the visuals that you present on that. And that's a skill. Let's just put it that way. I'm very grateful to my digital team that work really hard, all three of them that, work hard towards that.
Oh man, back before the internet, I worked at The Gap was my very first job.
Really?
I folded a lot of denim. I still have incredible folding skills. But yeah, there was no internet to with the things back then.
Yeah.
What are your aspirations for the coming 5 years for the store?
There's too much to name.
Nelson always with the hard questions.
Too much to name. Honestly, as great as the store looks and feels and is right now, I have really big ideas for what I want it to be in 5 years. And that's even much, much, much better and stronger than we look right now. So all I'll say is that we've come this far. And I think that we're, Over the Rainbow to me is the best version of itself that it's ever been. But I think in 5 years, it'll be even better because we'll do lots of, it'll be anything from, partnerships to collaborations to events to shopping nights to all sorts of fun things that we're going to roll out with Rainbow over the next and it's not even 5 years. It's longer than that, Nelson. We're looking 10, 20 years down the road,
Yeah.
We'll be bigger and better than we ever have.
Well, with 47 years behind you, I look forward to what comes next for Over the Rainbow.
Me too.
For sure.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me.
It was
a great experience and congratulations again on the media company, the podcast, and very, very happy to be a guest on your show today.
Glad to have you.
Hopefully your viewers like it as much as I don't know what I just said, and this was. I want to disclaim it by saying that this was totally unprepared. I did not get the questions in advance. I had no idea what Nelson and Casey were going to ask me, but they did a good job, and hopefully we got some good sound bites.
Yeah, definitely did. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for tuning into this episode with Daniel Carman. Visit rainbowjeans.com to find the absolute best selection of denim around.
Check out more episodes of Cast of Creators on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, or visit castofcreators.com.